Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel, The Nostalgic Dragon. I talk about fantasy books, mythological books, and science fiction books. I also talk about other formats where we can hear stories, such as board games and video games. Stories can be told in many ways. And today I want to present to you a few books I bought. I'm not buying so many new books, I would say. I'm usually a reader of long series or a player, gamer of long games. I usually stay in the book or in the world or in the game world for a very long time, and that goes with board games as well. But this time, actually, I bought some books. There has been Swedish book sale. I think there still is some time left of the book sale in Sweden. That's a tradition here. So I went to the bookstore and found a few books that I would like to show you today. And I also want to talk a bit about my current reading as well, but I will do that in the end. So the first new book is Death Stranding. It's a video game by video game producer or director Hideo Kojima, and he's very famous. If you don't know about him, he's made games like Metal Gear Solid and this, and also other games. Uh, Very, you can say, creative storyteller, and he weaves in political intrigue and conflicts into his stories, and also a lot of philosophy and um, perspectives of life and death, I would say. This is about Sam Porter Bridges, the book and the game. He is a legendary porter with the ability to return from the world of the dead, and he has been entrusted with a critical mission by the President of the United States of America. He must journey across the ravaged landscape, crawling with otherworldly threats to reconnect cities and people and rebuild America one step at a time. And in the game, you do that, of course, by building roads, you deliver a lot of things to people. You try to solve the, you could say, the mystery that is called the Death Stranding. I don't want to spoil that for you. And here in the book, which I just briefly started to read, I will read this one later. As you know, I read a lot of books if you follow the channel regularly, so I just have to wait. I think you will get another perspective in this book. It's written by one of the authors of Death Stranding when it comes to story and dialogue, and for the most part, I've heard that this is coherent with the lore in Death Stranding. There is some deviations, so I will just wait to start reading this until I come further into the game of Death Stranding, where I am on chapter 4. Um, Death Stranding game, if you don't know about that, is great. It's about connecting people, creating social connections to people when all the social connections has disappeared because this apocalypse that has happened in North America, or in the United States of America more precisely. And before that happened, the world was, adjusted and lived according to the rules of internet and AI and so on. So a lot of the human connections has been toned down or did not exist because people relied on technique. Now the technique is gone and you have to rebuild society. So it's of course a commentary, it seems like, on the world we are living in today, and it also gives a lot of thoughts of what it means to be human, I would say. So I'm looking forward to read this. There is one, this is part one, there is a part two as well, but I didn't buy that one. I also found, maybe not so surprising for you, two other books. And the first one is, it's the same author. It's Ryan Cahill or Cahill. This is The Fall. And this is part of the Bound and Broken series. And I also bought the first book, and that is Blood and Fire. As I understand it, I've just started to glance a bit upon it, and it's a classic fantasy done well, as I understand it. Maybe not so many surprises, but for me, something I'm longing for because I really enjoy all those complex fantasy stories that I read, as you know, like Malazan Book of the Fallen, for example, and also other fantasy books like Backer and so on. They're usually quite grimdark, not the naive style, if you could say so, of old fantasy. This is more like that, I suppose, like Wheel of Time, Eragon, Lord of the Rings, and so on. And I will tell you more when I read more in the book. So, as you know, I'm curious. So of course, I started to read a few pages here and there to see if something for me. And the good thing with the Fall and this one is that you can choose to read the Fall before Blood and Fire, or you can choose to read afterwards. And if you go into Ryan Cahill's webpage, he will describe it for you. I don't remember the exact name now, but if you choose to read the Fall before, you are more action oriented and you get a more action oriented experience of the reading. And if you start with Of Blood and Fire, you will get a slower build up. So for me, no surprise for you, maybe I've chosen the slower build up instead. So looking forward to that. I'm also currently reading a lot of things today, especially this Sunday. And first of all, I would like to thank Andrew Campbell, a booktuber here on YouTube. I have had the opportunity to read his draft, a fantasy novella, and we had a chat this last Friday, and I think it was Andrew's Saturday though, since he's in Brisbane, Australia. And I read it through and I commented upon it, and we had a great discussion on writing and how to build up stories, and of course the content of the novella so far. I really enjoyed the story. I don't want to spoil that for you or for Andrew, so who knows, we might talk about this more, I hope so, and let's see if we can do something here or not. It depends on what we want, of course. But it's very nice for me to be this kind of beta reader. It means I'm not an advanced reader, of course, but I read as I read books. I'm an ordinary reader and give my thoughts, reflections, and reactions. So that was really fun to do that. So thank you, Andrew, for that. I also met Rick recently. I think it was last week. We talked about Shogun. We have a buddy read, and we have read the first 5 chapters. And we're going to continue to go up until read up until chapter 13 until Easter. So great book, great conversation. We will try to make something here in YouTube together later when we are ready. And if you don't know about Shogun, I really encourage you to look into this book. It's about John Blackthorne, who is a pilot, and this is the 17th century Japan. For different reasons, they end up in Japan. And he's a Protestant Christian, but they end up in Japan, who is colonized by, or partly colonized by Catholics, Portuguese Catholics. And then you also, so there is this dimension of religion here, conflicts in Europe between Christian, Catholics and Protestants. And then you have the situation in Japan, which I'm learning about, so I'm not so well versed in that, where you have a power struggle between different rulers. And Blackthorne is caught up in the middle of all of this, and he gets he has to survive there because he's basically a prisoner in the beginning, but he tries to adjust. And we will follow Blackthorn's journey in the medieval era of Japan, where also they meet Europeans, and there is also a power vacuum or power struggle in Japan during that period. So very interesting. A few things that we touched upon when we talked about this book was this is a bit of a stereotypical book when describing Europeans and also Japanese people, but it's interesting because the stereotypes go all the way. It's directed toward Europeans and Japanese people, so it's a bit funny in that way. Usually when you read these books that might be criticized for being post-colonial and so on, the stereotypes just goes one way, but here it goes both ways. So that's one perspective. There's a lot of political dimensions here, maybe not so much spiritual, but in a way it's there because of the Christian perspective, and you also have the Japanese perspective, or the Shintoism, and the transition basically to Christianity as well, that occurs in Japan during this time. And you also have the perspective of culture, the cultural customs, and the difference between Europeans and Japanese people. Then Europeans being, for example, very not very clean. Cleanliness is an interesting theme in this book so far. So this one I recommend, and we are reading it, and we will talk about it more on the channel here later this spring. Today I've spent a lot of time in the Sun Eater series. I'm trying to finish this one so I can review it here on the channel during Easter. The same goes for the Book of the New Sun. Also want to review the Claw of the Conciliator. I'm showing these two together because they are a bit connected. Obviously, when it comes to Rukio is very inspired by Book of the New Sun and Dune and his own ideas, of course. This is more pure philosophy. This is more entertainment. But in this fourth installment, Kingdoms of Death, without spoiling things here, I would say a philosophical perspective comes more into center of the story, and you also have a more of a horror themes. A bit scary, actually, I would say. I'm 300 pages in now, and it doesn't feel that comfortable to read it all the time because it's some scary scenes, I would say. Not like when in dark, but psychologically, it's a bit maybe non-comfortable for us peaceful humans, at least. Yeah, Book of the New Sun, and then of course I spent a lot of time here during the weekend, continuing in Tower of Fools. I would say of the books I've shown you, Sapkowski is more of a pure entertainer. Even though it's very grimdark and tragic in the Witcher world, there is also a lot of humor and hilarious situations, very dysfunctional fellowship, as you can watch in another video where I talked about the fellowship in the Witcher saga. And I really enjoy it, and compared to Sun Eater, it's definitely not scary. It's very fun. I really recommend the Witcher books for you. So priority now is the Witcher saga, the Kingdoms of Death, or the Sun Eater series, and also Book of the New Sun. So apart from that, I'm continuing to pause these two a bit, but I will continue. It's the Tower of Fools. I've shown you that one before. Also by the Witcher author, about a Reinvan charlatan and maybe a magician, and his adventure basically in Czech Republic, it takes part in South Poland, part of Germany. It's the Hussite Wars. It's the Protestant revolt against the papacy. It's historically, as I understand it, correct, but the story is fictional. And this book has inspired the directors for the video game Kingdom Come Deliverance, which I also recommend. That was interesting to read, that they were so inspired. You can really feel that when you read the book. A lot of strange situations, a lot of humor, a lot of um, surprising twists of the story, and both serious and also unserious. And there are some say actually this one is better than The Witcher. So let's see. The last book I'm pausing a bit, but I will continue, and I really enjoy this one. It's the Leviathan Awakes Expanse, and one reason I'm reading this book is because it will become a video game. So that's the idea with Witcher here, and that is that it's a video game, it's a book, and it's actually a board game and board games nowadays. I'm interested to compare the storytelling, and that goes for the Expanse 2 book, video game, and also a TV show, as you might know. So um, I'm preparing for that actually. I'm a bit unsure when the Expanse video game is coming out, but I think it's next year. So I just wanted to lore prep myself before that. So that's the idea. Yeah, a lot of things going on here and a few videos planned. Reviews, as you heard, during the Easter, and some social events with my friends here on BookTube, and also people who are followers of the channel. I'm very happy for you connecting to me directly. Many people do that. It's either here, it can be on Substack. Not so much. I'm on Blue Sky too, by the way, if you want to connect there. But my presence seems to work mostly here and partly on Substack. So don't feel afraid to contact me. I can enjoy to have contact with both booktubers and also followers of the channel. So that's really, really great for me, and I'm very happy for that. And that's one of the main points of having the channel, not getting likes and subs so much, but getting real contacts and connections. So, for example, I have had chats with people in Canada and Australia and Japan, but it's David Four Corners of the Page, so, and also Philip Chase earlier, and now some time back, and also author interviews with Stephen Erickson and also Christopher Rucchio, and also Ian C. Esselmont, also as an author. So a lot of things has to do with just connecting with people. So I'm curious on what you are reading, so please write that in the comments below if you have time. And if you have requests for what I'm going to talk about, what I should talk about on the channel, please add them as well. So I hope you have a great Sunday. This was just a short check-in. Hope you're doing fine, and I'm looking forward to see you. Bye.